Got a bathroom sink that's draining slow or doesn't want to drain at all? We'll show you how to fix it today. Bathroom sink, you start to fill it up with water, you're using it, and the water just continues to fill up even though the stopper here is open. The water continues to fill up because this drain is full. Now you may think, oh, I need a plumber or something. There's something you can try first to see if you can fix it. Usually you don't need a plumber for this. If it's just this one that's having trouble, not the toilet, not the shower, a lot of times it is actually just hair piled up in this drain right here. And usually it's just attached to the stopper because it goes down in there. There's a little rod from the back that hooks onto this, and that little rod gets hair stuck on it, and it eventually just gets more and more clogged up in there. So we're gonna show you how to fix this real quick. Maybe it takes 10-15 minutes. Really, it depends on how hard it is to get to underneath the cabinet. So we're gonna take this out. If you don't know how to take this out, it basically has a little rod that goes across from this underneath there. It fits into a little hole in the bottom of the stopper, and then it has a little screw-on fitting that holds all that together. So we're gonna show you how to take this apart. On this one, I can actually get to it right through here because of the type of cabinet we have here, but I'll show you underneath so you can see a little bit better. So if your sink is full of water currently, you wanna actually drain that out so you don't get water covering you. If you can't drain it out, you can use a bucket, cup, something like that. Underneath this long plastic rod here is actually attached to the handle up there that you can pull up and down to lower and raise the stopper. Then this metal bar coming across here is actually going to fit into the bottom of the stopper. So the stopper assembly is coming down into this. It has like a long tail piece on it. This metal piece here is going to fit into a hole on that. So to get to the stopper, we don't need to do anything with this side. This is already adjusted for the height. Your plumbers, or maybe you did that. When you put this sink in, we just need to get this rod out of the tail piece on the stopper. So what we're gonna do is there's a plastic nut here on the back. You're gonna loosen that. Gotta just get your arm in there and around it. So it's gonna go counterclockwise, but it's probably backwards from you. So just make sure you're going the right way with it. Okay, once that comes out, if there was water in the sink or in the drain, the water would now come out of this hole because this is actually your drain pipe. So like I said, make sure that sink has drained down. Usually they just drain slow. If they're stopped up, they're not actually fully clogged. And then at this point, this rod is now loose, and this little ball stopper here, that's what's keeping the water from running out normally. All this is loose. We don't need to take it all the way out. We just need it to slide back just enough that it's no longer in the tailpiece. So usually if you just slide it back like that, it's not in the tailpiece anymore. We can go pull that stopper out from the top. All right, back up here on the top, you can see now this is no longer firmly attached. If we pull that out, oh, gross. This is the problem with working on sinks. So what is that? That's just basically lotion and soap and hair all built up in this sink over a long period of time. You can see the hole there in the bottom. That's where our metal rod was going right through that hole. And so all the buildup in this pipe is what's keeping us from having a sink that drains nicely. So if we look down in the hole there, see if I can get this where you can see it. Ah, yes, there it is. That's just hair, soap, lotion, all that stuff that people use in the bathroom, toothpaste, all that stuff is down in there. Okay, so now at this point, you gotta figure out how you're gonna get it out. You probably don't wanna stick your hand down in there, it's pretty gross. You can use something like maybe a skewer from your barbecue grill, those wooden bamboo ones, something you're gonna throw away. You could probably use a popsicle stick. You can use pretty much anything long and skinny that you can get rid of afterwards. Or, in my case, I have this grabber tool. You can press the end. You can buy these online. I'll drop a link down below. Little grabber tool. Works really good for stuff like this. I keep it around actually just for this. I press the end, it opens the claws. And what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna start grabbing out this hair. Now, if you want to know why doesn't this sink drain, okay, You can see right here why. I'm just going to be setting it to the side as we go, and I'll clean all that up at the end. So I just continue to use this grabber tool, going a little farther each time, kind of cleaning it off the walls as we go. You might say, couldn't you just run a snake down in there? You can run a snake down in there, but I prefer to get as much of it out as possible, so I'm pulling it up, not running it down. Also, oh, there's a big chunk of it. So that's all hair, soap, and all kinds of nastiness. So you keep doing that so you aren't really getting anything left. All right, there's not really anything left in there, so I'm gonna set that there until I can rinse it off. If you wanna see the pile of hair and gunk that came out of there, there it is. Now, that makes it very clear, why was this sink not draining? That is a pile that's probably, if you compacted it 2 inches square, that drain is only about 1.5 inches. So that's why it's not draining, because that big pile of stuff was right there on the stopper. So at this point, we can move that stuff to the side. We're ready to reassemble. I'll throw this in the garbage. You don't want to obviously wash that right back down the sink. All right, so I went through and just cleaned the stopper up a little bit. I'm gonna grab this big pile of grossness and throw that away. Obviously, you can use gloves. You can, clean this up how you like. I'm not gonna show you that stuff. Then we put the stopper back in. The stopper can go in either way. Usually I put it in with the tailpiece with the little loop towards the back just to get more of that rod into the stopper. You do want to line it up though. If you see, I got that hole facing directly back because I want to line up that rod when it gets down there. So I'm going to go ahead and put that in. Okay, now we need to line this stopper up from down below. This is the part that's a little bit hard sometimes because you're going to actually try to run that rod back into it. So usually what I do is I put one hand underneath and I grab this with one hand and I'm just basically pushing that pole, a little metal rod, back through the hole in this. You'll know when it's connected because I can't pull up on it anymore. So it's actually in the hole there. And then once it's connected, you're gonna go ahead and tighten that nut back up. So from down below, just to show you what that looks like, I already got this rod back into the tailpiece. I lined that up. I was holding it from the top. At the same time, I was holding on down here. Then you gotta get this nut tight. So you wanna make sure while you're tightening this nut, that rod doesn't slip out. You're gonna tighten that down pretty snug, remembering water is gonna come down through this, so you actually want that pretty snug. You don't need to really crank on it, it's just plastic, but you don't want to leak there. So you tighten that down pretty snug. Then how do we know it's in the right place? Number one, you won't be able to pull it up anymore. Number two, when we use this, it will actually go up and down when you grab the handle and push on it. So that's all good. Now we can go ahead and test it out. Or if we ran any amount of water in here, this thing was going to clog up. I'll rinse this off while I'm letting it fill up. All right, now that thing is draining good again, because we pulled that giant pack of hair and junk out of there. This happens probably every year or so, and it saves you some money from calling the plumber if you know how to fix it. Hopefully that's helpful to you. If you found this helpful, hit that like button. Subscribe to our channel. That helps our channel to grow, and it's a great way to say thank you. If you got any questions, comments, need any additional help, let us know. Thanks for watching.